Practice non-action. Work without doing. Taste the tasteless. Magnify the small. Increase the few. Reward bitterness with care. See simplicity in the complicated. Achieve greatness in little things. Take on difficulties while they are still easy.
Namaste, Ashe. Hello, this is Omscorpius or Gabrielle, your satanic gray witch here for our pick a card, which is messages from our angels and demons. So I have our cool setup today with some skulls, the ravens, and we have our 3 piles here. I'm really excited to jump into it. So with these, I was going to not pre-shuffle the cards, but just pull them as we go through the piles. Yeah, we're gonna use Dreams of Gaia for our main tarot for this reading, so I can get a clear message. So we're gonna start with our piles, okay, and I'm gonna show them to you. So I paired up the demons with the angels, and so it'll be more prolific of a message, I guess. So with pile number 1, we have the angel, being the 72 angel. I'm not sure how to say its name, but it's the magician, and this was beginnings. Let me double check that with the okay, so good thing I checked that. So we're gonna go over our piles one more time. So our first pile is endings with the 72 angel, with the magician, and paired up with the demon, I might be saying that wrong, 22nd demon of the Galatia with strength. So strength and the magician together. So this is the ending. And pile number 1, okay? So just, take a look at it, psychic link with it. With this card, I know that the ending had to do with the 9 pillars that is basically the 9 pillars of the tree of life, and our physical existence, and kind of like transitioning between endings and beginnings, and understanding what cycles are, and where the strength is with embracing and releasing endings and beginnings. And that's where the strength is. You can hold on to something that's trying to end, and have it stunt your growth, your transformation, because with the magician card, with the endings, it emphasized the strength in releasing things that no longer serve you, so that you can realize your true desires. So pile number 1. All right, and then pile number 2 is our 20th angel, matched with Shax, our Queen of Swords with defenses, and then we have the 3 of Swords with the hurt. And so this is the Redeemer pile with this angel. And so I feel like with this one is not having clear desires and acting upon those unclear desires in a way that kind of puts us in this prideful isolation with Shax. This is the demon that kind of strangles us with prideful isolation, because it's almost out of a lack of wanting to acknowledge the pain. It's more like avoidance of the pain with the 3 of Swords. And this is really like avoidance of our responsibility to this situation that caused pain. So very interesting with these 2 coming up. There was definitely a pattern with the angels and demon cards when we pulled them. So this is our Redeemer. This is redeeming ourselves. I feel like with the Shax energy, the shadow element really pulls us back because of the pride part, like being too prideful to admit when we are wrong, but knowing that we're wrong, and that's what keeps us kind of isolated. And knowing that we're wrong is in the light element of this angel, with admitting rash decisions, and kind of clearing those up with acknowledging it. This is a very air element-y pile. This is, the element of swords mainly, With pile number 1, it was mainly 2 major arcana cards. Pile number 2 is just all swords, dealing with hurt and unhealthy boundaries. Unhealthy boundaries. This one was definitely unhealthy boundaries. So pile number 2. Now pile number 3, our last pile, was beginnings. After accepting what has happened with Fornus and the demon, the 30th demon of the Goetian, with 4 pentacles, with holding on to something. You know, this one had greed and stasis, which was very insane. And then the embracing the beginnings with this angel, the 70th angel with the 8 of Cups, is this emotional need to release things that are not flowing. It's ironic that the pentacle is matched up with the water here, because the water is what would nourish this, because this is like the greed and stasis part, which definitely there's no growth if there's stasis. And so with the 8, there's that infinity symbol with the constant flow of things, and I feel like it's a need, the joy of like releasing something. And I think there is the Pisces here with balance, with practicality and spirituality, balancing the practical parts of like physical things ending when it's time to release physical things, and to have the spirituality to flow with that emotionally, knowing that this world is physically temporary. So with Fornus, he's also paired up with the moon and Leo, and Leo is very fiery, very ambitious, but it's like, I feel like with this moon with Leo, it's like this fear of losing things. Off of the greed shows a bit ambition to like get something, but then the stasis is like a fear of losses. You know what I mean? Gain but no losses seems imbalanced. So that's where this 8 of Cups balances that out. So that's pile number 3 with beginnings. Okay, so messages from our angels and demons. So we're going to start with pile number 1 with beginnings. With endings, sorry. Pile number 1 with endings. Magician and strength. Pile number 1. So we're just going to put these guys up here. Okay, can you get a good see? Okay, there we go. So, alright, so they're there. Now, I got my familiars and the Witches Tarot, because I want it to be really fun and colorful, and the pictures are awesome. So, I'm excited to use these. It's been a while. Alright, so we're start with the Witch's Oracle. Okay. Pile number 1 is Message of Collective. Message of Collective of darkness when embracing innocence, strength to release things, and releasing fears, releasing cycles, transitioning between cycles, to death already in the cards. So let's see what was happening. Oh, okay, I don't know what that was, but we'll take whatever these are. Okay, and this one. Oh, so I dropped the card down right on death here. So definitely endings is very prevalent here with this death card. So, and containment is at the back of the deck. With emotions, what's brewing in our emotions towards this ending or ending cycles. The cards that are flipped up are death and prosperity. Okay, death and prosperity. So I feel like it's a fear of maybe prosperity, but I feel like with every door that closes, another one opens. You know, it's really our mentality and how we think about things. We also have cleansing. So yes, I would definitely say the message really here is to cleanse. I feel like any fear related to endings, especially if it has fear to do with losing any type of prosperity or stability. And then we have respect. the Pentacle. So I feel like there's a lot of protection in all of these with these little firefly things. You know, it's in all the cards. I saw it in this one mainly, but then it's in all of them. Even in the Death card, all of them have. I feel like this is a death that is guided. Cycles do end, nothing is forever, and with this Pentacle, I feel like it may be like a respect of the Pinnacle, the aspect of the Pinnacle, because with the Magician card, when it talked about these 9 pillars, it was very interesting in the sense that it was kind of like how to cycle through them, which is like almost like flowing, and that they all have like a time and a season. So you know, I feel like there's, with this cleansing card, there's a need to release because something better, something more new, prosperity has to come in, and in order for something new to come in, you have to release and cleanse, and this is part of the cycle of the Pinnacle. I feel like like with the Pinnacle, it's like flow with it, and I feel like the flow is also releasing as well. So that's basically what I'm getting from this. I feel like there may be like fears because of this Death card. It's very shadowy and the Death card, so I feel like there's some shadow elements of fear of losing things, but you got to respect the cycle of the Pinnacle, you know, death and rebirth. I feel like every Pinnacle has a life cycle, and that's why there's like a flow, or you invested into other stuff because of its life cycle. So that was awesome, and we're gonna move on to, I don't know if I want to put these cards away. I'm gonna leave them out, okay, with all 3 piles. We'll do it that way. So I'm gonna pull the Familiar now. Okay. Divine Collective, for endings and stuff. Respecting the Pentacle, cleansing, releasing, a fear of releasing things. I'm starting over. Okay, so we got 2 that wanted to pop out. We have Ant, which is cooperation, and the Boar with ferocity. So the Boar with ferocity, and it's another shadowy one. It's kind of dark in there. It is at night, so I feel like with the ferocity, it has direct relation to maybe these ants. With cooperation with, I feel like, others and like the universe and how it works, with especially with the Pentacles, and with the Magician, and like how manifestations are working out. I feel like there's maybe like an element of this pile maybe resisting cooperation with cycles ending, and feeling like some type of way about losing prosperity, but not understanding that you have to lose some prosperity to gain new or better prosperity, which is why this cleansing card, I feel like, is definitely here. So, but when you're like a boar head, kind of like, I feel like stubborn energy from the boar, you kind of, you know, you're not acting cooperatively with manifesting the universe and with others. If it has to do with like another person or a situation, really knowing how to disconnect yourself. If I'm correct, one of these cards has something to do with manifesting things, but also being slightly disconnected to them, not because you don't care, but because understanding that there will be a time where you're going to have to release this manifestation, because everything has a cycle, especially when it comes to the Pinnacle. It basically has an expiration date once it hits this, dimension of like really here, and that's okay. It's a flow. And so that's where the cooperation comes in, and not so much frustrated, angry, or just want to like go head first into everything, you know what I mean? So that's basically what I'm really getting from that energy right there. So that was awesome, and we're gonna move right along to our shadow cards. I really feel good about this card, this pile. I really feel like the message is just simple: chill out, you know. That's what it feels like, just chill. And sometimes you got to release some prosperity to get new prosperity, because that's the cycle of the pentacle. So we're going to pull some shadow elements and figure out where some of this pain may be located in the boar and the death card with, I feel like, fear, frustration, like wanting what you want, but I feel like something that you want is being taken away, and it's like hard to let it go because of that emotionally, and so there needs to be some emotional cleansing for that. But we're going to find out. So we have a karmic relationship on the back, so this definitely has to do with releasing, maybe I feel like a traumatizing relationship that has to do with lessons, to do with personal growth. And if it's time to release that, it's time to release that so you can grow. And that's just cycles of life. So this is definitely related to, because I was like, is this like with a person, like can't release a person, or like a situation or job or something like that? But it definitely is a person. So we have sunglasses with watching, stalking, gaslighting, perception, and focusing out. So this fell on the floor. So I feel like this is something somebody really wants to, like, I don't know, I feel like this pile, the message from your angels and demons is to stop gaslighting how you really feel. So you can cleanse that area, so you can properly release this, whatever this is, this karmic relationship. You have I like you, someone likes you, romance is blooming, flirting, I want to date. So I feel like this is just holding on. It feels like more holding on energy. I feel like it could be a bit of new love trying to come in. But it's hard to admit that or see that if you're kind of stuck already in the sunglass energy with gaslighting to yourself, that there needs to be emotional cleansing so you can release and move forward and move away from a karmic relationship. So, and on the other back, the side, we have mirroring each other's image, relationship, reflecting each other's wounds. So I really feel like this mirroring is definitely tied to the karmic card. Sometimes I find the little relationship things to be a little bit annoying, but other times I find them to be very insightful and learning about how our spirit basically sets us up to basically experience ourselves through mirroring other people, or being mirrored back to ourselves through other people. And then it puts us in these different paradigms of relationships. And you can say a karmic relationship, which karma is just action in this case, would be lessons from like a cycle or pattern of doing things related to triggers, traumas and stuff that needs to be healed. And so you go through these karmic relationships to kind of realize where you need to heal. But people tend to do the blame game instead of kind of taking responsibility in the part that they played in it ending. And we are dealing with the ending with the magician, and how the magician has manifested an ending, and accepting that the pinnacle, everything has a life cycle, generally speaking. And so even karmic relationships have a life cycle that is supposed to end so that you can learn from your lessons or get a new opportunity. New opportunity, I feel like, is here with the I like you card, and it's also here with the prosperity card and the cleansing card. So new love is like hello, but co-cooperation, you're gonna have to get out of this boar energy with ferocity. And I feel like this is just being stubborn. So we have 3 more that was here. We got healthy choices, which is making healthy choices in love and life, self-love, self-care, and being happier, which is kind of addressing that cleansing part, that necessary part of cleansing how you feel about things ending. It's okay to be upset that things are ending, but it's not okay not to accept that it's ending. So that you can allow yourself to move on and accept why it failed, so that you don't manifest the same situation because you never address those emotions. Hand of cards, which is taking a risk and being strategic. Options and not showing hands, gambling. So there is a lot of not showing true feelings with the sunglassing. The sunglass card with the gaslighting, and this one was kind of just hiding your hand. And so with this one, I kind of get like a little bit of a sense of like taking a risk as far as admitting how you feel. Like playing your hand. I don't know. It's kind of, I feel like mixed signals are here, and I feel like the mixed signals needs to be cleared up with playing the hand, because this one says not showing hands and this one is like gaslighting. So it's like, I don't see the point in it, so play the damn hand and just move forward. Because there's a need to move forward in a way that gets the game moving. You know what I mean? So it doesn't get stagnant. And the last one was the sword and the rose. Clarity, truth, revelation, solidarity, force, honor, protection, and power. And I feel like this is letting you know that you may feel like you're losing something, but it's like, no, you're not. That was a lesson. And what did you learn from that, so we can move on to something else and see how this works, if it turns into a lesson or an opportunity. Stop turning this unsuccessful, this failure into like a lifetime. You know what I mean? It was just a failed experience, but we have many more experiences to have. That's the kind of energy I'm getting from this. And so, because I feel like there's this energy of like just not admitting an ending and not taking a risk and moving forward. And it's a gamble either way. Life is just generally a gamble. So that was awesome. And I'm gonna take these shadow cards though, but I'm gonna leave the other ones out, okay? Alright, and now we're moving right on to our dark goddess card, and hopefully they will definitely tell us where this pain is. I feel like take a risk on letting go for yourself. Might be a good thing. We also got our moon cards. I almost forgot. Okay, so dark goddess, mothers, and queens. What messages do we have? What do I come with this? Light darkness. Where's the pain in the darkness? With releasing and admitting and playing our hands, taking a risk on ourselves, and admitting how we really feel in our endings and how we have contributed to our ending. So we want to start again with new manifestations. Okay, so. Okay. Okay, so that one might come out. The back of the card, we have endurance. Okay, so with the endurance card, I still feel like there's a storm in the background. Definitely an emotional storm. I feel like concealed reasons for enduring. With the veil, there's like some concealment. So, alright, so we'll see where that's gonna go. Alright, we have prosperity. Wow, prosperity. So, it's the endurance for prosperity. And I feel like with prosperity coming up as a shadow element is really asking this pile to address, reassess what is prosperity to them. Prosperity here is twice. Prosperity. So, we have autumn here. which is our harvest. I feel like the reasons for enduring are related to prosperity or money related with this pentacle. We have prosperity and a pentacle here. Prosperity twice and a pentacle. Respect. But it's like, what type of respect is this if you're enduring something that you need to release? You know, when you tie in the other shadow cards with it being a karmic relationship and a lesson, and healthier choices. So I feel like the direction towards the pinnacle, if it's based off of with this boar with the ferocity and kind of this energy of fearing we're losing things, is because I feel like what you're losing was not yours to have. And that there's a need to reassess. I feel like with this shadow card with prosperity, this has to do with some prosperity self-talk issues towards prosperity. I feel like deeper than just this opportunity. This is like a spiritual lesson. Whenever you're in the karmic relationship paradigm, that is like a soulmate meeting up with another soulmate, kind of reflecting, mirroring each other. So there's something about your view of prosperity and whoever this karmic person is that you're missing about yourself, and how you are contributing to not cooperating with what's happening, the ending. And there's fear related to, well, if my prosperity's leaving, but I don't think you're understanding the lesson of why it even happened, so something new can come in to test you again. It's like the wheel of fortune spinning again to give you either a lesson or an opportunity based off of what you did in this opportunity. And from it coming up as a karmic relationship, I would say this turned out being a lesson. But if you haven't understood that, you'll probably end up going through a similar cycle like this again. And that's why it's necessary to cleanse and really, I feel like, self-reflect on why the frustrated, stubborn energy towards cooperating with something ending so something better can come in. Like examining that. So I hope that made sense. Alright, so cool. And we're going to move right on to our tarot cards. Okay. And see what we get. And they're just all kind of stacked here. We've got 2 more oracles. Okay, so we're going to ask the moon, silver moon, goddess, mother, queen. And this again, so pile number 1 with endings. Releasing things, re-examining our prosperity, accepting lessons and opportunities. Releasing and gaining fortune with grace. That sounds nice, right? Alright, so... Okay, 1 already filled out. That was fast. Dreams need a practical plan. So I definitely feel like whatever this pile is not releasing regarding prosperity, pentacle, prosperity came up twice, and pentacle, whatever that is that you're not releasing, release it. Because it was a lesson. It was not an opportunity, so you need to release it. So you can take what you've learned from that lesson and create a new opportunity. But if you're struggling with releasing it, or something you're missing, there's something you're not seeing reflected in the situation that directly relates to you and how you can improve. Through this ending, through making something better than what it was. So I feel like that's the practicality plan part of this. In Pisces, with spirituality and practicality, this is the practical part. Whatever dreams that you had with this situation, with this pinnacle and prosperity that didn't go in your favor and turned it out to be a lesson, you need to look at that practically, like, okay, that didn't work. So how do I create something else? There's death is here, really strong. and there's like really a fear of like releasing it, but you need to release it, and look at why it failed, because it says dreams need a practical plan. It didn't say the dreams were not possible. It didn't say that the prosperity wasn't possible. It said whatever you were doing, that didn't work. It's done now. Let it go, because we got something else coming up. All right, and it's going to be a lesson. To see if you've learned from your karmic lesson. You got to do that emotional cleansing and self-reflecting. So awesome. Dreams in a practical plan. All right, now we just have our star seeds and our tarot. Okay. Our star seeds to lift us up with the light. Messages from divine lights. What messages do we have for the collective regarding releasing for new beginnings to enter? Alright, one I wanted to fall out. Okay. So we'll see what this one is. And I need to drink some water. Okay, so empathic starseed. Energetic sovereignty. Absorbing what is not yours. Alright. Absorbing what is not yours. So I feel like with this one... I feel like with the absorbing what is not yours, my mind gets pulled to maybe this prosperity card. With how I said, I felt like this prosperity card has to do with like something that was beyond this situation that is ending, that's kind of has you being fearful about it ending because your prosperity is leaving. I feel like what I said, it's the prosperity card in the shadow deck makes me feel like it asks you to reassess how you were raised to think about money and prosperity and being abundant, and what that looks like, what that feels, what that is, and understand that maybe that is a misconstrued view and it doesn't work for you. It keeps you in a pattern, a cycle. And a karmic pattern is a sign of your soul putting you in that karmic relationship to let you know there is a cycle within you that you keep repeating so that you can improve. It's literally, like I said, with the angel and demon cards, they're like a check and balance in our psyche. Light and darkness, subconscious and consciousness. And so I feel like in the shadow, which is this prosperity shadow card, is something to do with some type of patterns related to prosperity, which is very specific. It's not, prosperity isn't necessarily money. Prosperity can be prosperity in like emotion, feeling, the richness of life, friends, like a good life full of options, not just money. So I feel like the prosperity may be rooted in something that I feel like something that makes you feel like you have to be holding on to something or pretending, or like I don't know, like there's some weird emotions attached to prosperity. And understand, like I feel like it's like false prosperity, like to look prosperous but not really be prosperous, because you can, the gaslighting with the sunglasses can be like someone who wants it to look a certain way, but then that quality of prosperity isn't really good if like you're in a karmic relationship. You know what I mean? And you're not even admitting that you need to let this cycle go so a new one can enter. Right there shows me emotionally there's a lot of hidden emotions that are out of balance. And so there's a need to balance how you feel. And right now I'm looking at your shadow card with strength with Jupiter and Cancer. Cancer is the zodiac of like your home, nurturing family, friends. It deals with all of that. It's not just money. I never did that. I was supposed to do that in the beginning. I forgot. I didn't even say like it and like and subscribe and comment if this video resonates. Do it. Alright. A little late, but I'm on board. So we got our Dreams of Gaia with pile number 1 with endings. So we're going ahead and pull our key cards with Dreams of Gaia. Let's see what messages want to come through from the Magician and Strength with endings. Okay, so let's see what we get. Okay, we have Intuition reversed. Intuition reversed, so this is definitely having to do with looking into emotions and really knowing the importance, I feel like, for emotions is really knowing where you are on the love, fear, vibration scale, and that's going to tell you the quality of your manifestations. As challenging as it may be sometimes, we can control our emotions. And the importance of it is the quality of our manifestations and the people that are around us, because this is when you're like, you can have people around you who have ill intentions, and it's because maybe they might be trapped in some like cycle of doing toxic things, which is why you end up in karmic relationships, because they're there to reflect back to you as being your mirror on how and where to improve. So intuition could be blocked in this situation due to our own fears towards seeing the truth, listening to ourselves, because I feel like sometimes people will choose karmic relationships because they kind of like unhealthy situations. Let's admit, like, sometimes we like to watch people fight. Even though that is a low vibrational thing, that's not a high consciousness type of thing to be vibrating in the energy of love, to be wanting to fight people. You know, that's why they're polar opposites type of thing. But we have the capacity to feel both, and we have access to both. So I feel like this is speaking more to people who want to find a way out of that, to learn how to release so you can receive new things. And people who are having a hard time releasing, I am definitely confirming that there is something on the other end of releasing this, because it is a lesson. So it's time for something else, to see if you've learned your lesson from this and get another chance, because that's basically what life is all about, getting another chance, because the universe is us trying to experience itself through our experiences, and sometimes those things fail, sometimes they're successful. So that's her key card. Now we're going to look into the 4 elements and see what details we could get on this intuition card, with possibly blockages, intuition, some fear, or to maybe want to control it. Control can sometimes do that. But things end. It's very prevalent in all that Pentacles energy and Oracle. There's so much Pentacles. Okay, so let's see. Please. Okay, I'm going to take that one. I saw that one definitely flip, but didn't want to pop out. Okay. Okay. Good. Get your more Orcale seeds. So, must just have it collected. Sometime like this. Okay. Alright, so we got our 4. The one that wanted to show itself was the earth and fire. So through fire, I feel like is definitely, I feel like kind of understanding your fire, and I feel like the fire is still like young with willing things. I feel like because with this earth card, this card represents someone kind of serving things that don't fit their desires, being of service to things that don't fit their desires, and being a service to things that do, and understanding what those feel like and how what those make you feel like, and which one you want to be in, which one's going to bring you towards your happiness. And I feel like there may be an energy of understanding that what you're committing yourself to, is it really bringing you fulfillment, or is what you're committing yourself to bringing you fulfillment? And where are you going on your fulfillment with committing yourself to things? Because this one really deals with like tending things in the earth realm, like really catering to it. I got Beyonce's song, "Let Me Cater to You," and there was a lot of pentacles in the oracle cards, so it's really it has to be something that you're really tending to, like toil and laboring, in a way that you're dedicating your time to it. But it's like, is it feeding your passion? And if it's not, understand that this is a lesson, that is a cycle that needs to end, and understanding that endings are like inevitable. Everything has a cycle. Even good things have cycles. You know what I mean? And so it's like there's an energy of like rejuvenation, or if that's the case. But it's the motion towards your desires. What's your adventure? Like, this seems like a cool journey this guy's going on. So what are you dedicating you to that is feeding your fire? Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna keep repeating myself. We got more fire and earth. It's a pattern of fire and earth. We have the King of Fire. So the King of Fire, pulling out the 3 of Fire here. So with this 10 of Earth, there's an energy of falseness with the Mass, and boredom with the cycle, with the abundance. And it's at the 10, so this is an end. This is an end of a cycle. And I feel like with this one, there's an energy of, I don't know, it's always this energy of like faking it, and just kind of just sick of the same thing, and the same people, and the same shit, you know? Like, that's what it feels like. That's the energy of the 10 of Earth with this deck. And so it's like asking for like some need to like find gratitude for the things that is there. It's really weird, because it's like you got tending to it, but you're bored with it. It makes no sense. Why would you do that? And I feel like it's for, like, just to keep up a facade with this Ten of Earth. So, but let's move to the King of Fire, because I feel like this is a lot of motivation towards the King of Fire and why you would want to do that. I feel like there are some ambitious needs here, but because I feel like, okay, with this Ten of Earth, like, this feels like ambition, like someone has definitely gained a good amount of something and is pretty proud about it. That's what I'm getting from this. But there's boredom. I mean, literally, the Three of Fire is moving right into the Ten of Cups, and she's like, I'm bored. Like, so it's like, it feels like greed. It feels like greed. But it's not leading to true passions. It's more like, I don't know, I feel like the king thinks that the facade is more important than actually dedicating your time to a real adventure that'll really feed him, so he's not, like, bored with what he's committing to. And I feel like this is the intuition trying to tell you that, and it came out blocked because you're not accepting that something is ending. So you can cleanse and understand, well, how can I move towards a Ten of Earth that doesn't make me feel bored, that actually leads me to my fire, or, like, you know, feels like an adventure, as it should, you know. So that was basically your ending, and why it's important to release the messages from your angels and demons, so that you can receive a new opportunity and learn and apply what you've learned from this cycle, which was a karmic one, so you can see if you can get something better. Have you figured out what went wrong? And why aren't you listening to your intuition? Sometimes you gotta release prosperity to gain prosperity back. It's a ebb and flow. Sometimes shit don't work, you know? Sorry. Alright, so I'm gonna pack these up and we're gonna call it thank you, pal number 1 with the Magician and Strength. With endings. That was really cool, really smooth. Pal number 2 with Redeemer and Shocks. 3 of Swords. And we have our Queen of Swords with Unhealthy Boundaries. The Redeemer. Shocks. I like Shocks. She reminds me that there is a such thing as unhealthy boundaries. And it's like, we just don't talk about that enough. We don't. So, messages from our angels and demons. Okay, so what messages do we have for the collective of divine light and darkness with unhealthy boundaries and 3 of Swords, Queen of Swords, prideful isolation, this one flipped in my hand, intensification. Back of the deck we have guidance and imagination. So there's some air element here. I feel kind of Lilith energy, definitely with this intensification card. I felt Lilith energy, and then with the air element that was under the back nation. So intensification, I feel like, has to do with intensified thoughts, which are interesting because with mind and thinking comes with shadow and light. aspects, subconscious and consciousness. And sometimes if you think too much and you make crazy patterns, they can manifest, you know what I mean? Even the bad one, anxiety, it's a bitch, we don't want it. But it can even entrap you in your own mind. Sometimes, with the pain. And being our own redeemer is something where we have to acknowledge our wrongs. And, it's simple things of not doing these things can actually cause shadow elements that work against us, like the energy of shacks with unhealthy boundaries. Prideful boundaries, where you feel entitled to your boundaries even though you're not admitting that you did something that caused hurt. Because the Three of Swords with this Angel card is acknowledging the fact that you had unclear intentions and acted on them too soon. And it's kind of acknowledging your wrong so that you don't slip into that same pattern or cycle of action again. Again, with the shadow and light being a checks and balance on the things that we think about and do. Because all the elements are connected. So that's what I think of, like a lot of thinking going on. There's a lot of air. I mean, we got the Queen of Swords, the Three of Swords, air element, literally. And so intensification. This guidance card, I feel like guidance and tarot cards, I feel like maybe some fixation with using tarot to gain guidance on something, expecting maybe the outcome to change, and then it keeps just saying the same thing. You know what I mean? And it's like, at this point, it's really that Shaq's energy with prideful isolation. Like, even, I feel like, I'm pretty sure when we did the main reading of the month, a lot, it was like, if you can't admit you're wrong and move forward without arrogance, it was like arrogance and pride, you won't fall back into the traps of your own shadow, because it's you, you know what you're doing. So it's like you can't fool yourself type of energy. And it really had to do with some type of acknowledgement, and then it's like accepting the fault so you can get guidance from your higher self on how to heal or how to move forward or how to forgive. And that was the main thing with the guidance card that I wanted to get, was with the Three of Swords, is it's not about forgiving the other person to make them feel better. It's really about for us to heal our trauma so we can flow between love and fear, because we're not meant to be trapped in one or the other. And unfortunately, sometimes we have a little bit of elements of trauma pain in our psyche that's been there. To go through that is a hard process, but you have to want to accept, you have to get out of the prideful isolation part, even towards yourself. And that's why Shax is the shadow element of having unhealthy boundaries, because it's unhealthy in the fact that you're doing it out of pride because you don't want to admit that you are wrong. So you're not trying to fix the problem, see the problem, and so the pain is going to continue. And you're not going to receive guidance from your higher self so you can flow out of your pain into, this is ascension. That's what ascension is. Ascension and descension, ascension and descension are natural. We flow between them. We flow between love and fear, light and darkness. We're not supposed to sit in one or the other, but sometimes that's what people like to do. And then there's consequences to that, because naturally we are both. You can't get around it. So you're always going to have a conscious mind, and you're always going to have a subconscious mind that handles things that you're not consciously handling. because of whatever reason you choose to do that. And in this case, it's because of pride. So, it's intense. It's intense pride. It's intense air element of I am not at fault. They did it. These cards are wrong because you guys don't know what you're talking about, and I don't know what I'm talking about either because I won't admit the truth. So, pride. Prideful isolation is what that is. It's intense. So, we're gonna move right along. To our familiars, see how we contact them. Oh, shadow and light, shadow and light. Messages for the collective. Shadow and light, messages for the collective. What messages we have? Divine light. Okay. Alright, so we got one time out. Alright, so it's kind of nice. Yeah, alright, there we got one. Persecution with the badger. Observant ferret. So, persecution. Persecution. I feel like Shaxx, the shadow element, with the Queen of Swords, with unhealthy boundaries, feels attacked by, I feel, accepting what they see. They feel like the truth is an attack. Because the badger in the picture, there's a lot of darkness in there with prosecution. I feel like the badger is almost like isolating, like retreating. But I feel like it's unclear why you're even retreating that way, because it's dark. So there's some shadowy elements there. I feel like not seeing what the persecution is, but feeling that way. There's some fear element there of maybe addressing the light with this ferret, with being observant. Again, with the observant, that's another like air element, and it's more clear. So I feel like it's seeing it, because the badger feels more like retreating and the ferret feels more like coming out to look, which is why it's light. He's actually like, okay, what's going on? And observant, what's going on? And I feel like the truth isn't meant to attack you, it's meant to make you better. You know, like I always remember every quote anyone has ever told me, and someone has once said to me, let it make you better, not bitter. And I hated that at first, but then over time I was like, yeah, that's right. Like, that's true. Like, let it make you better, not bitter. And the truth is supposed to make you better, not bitter, but it can make you bitter sometimes. And you would feel prosecuted or attacked. But it's for us. That pain is meant to motivate. That's good pain. But this sitting in prosecution energy and developing more of Shaxx's shadow energy of unhealthy boundaries, you're not being observant of what messages you're trying to show yourself through that experience of seeing the truth of something you may have been responsible for and feeling prosecuted by seeing that truth. So, yeah. Okay, so I think I got that pretty clear with the ferret and the badger with prosecution and observant. So we're gonna move right on. Okay, so now we're gonna get our, I don't know what's next. I'm just pulling all the oracle cards. So I think we got our shadow and moon cards coming up. Ooh, don't you love the shadow? I always feel like brace yourself for the shadow because that's where it kicks up that shameful shame. The shamefully is shamefulness. Like, don't look at my heart. Oh my god, I'm sorry. And it prosecute by the truth. Finding the strength to look at our wrong ways, our ways of not looking at the truth. Great. Oh, we got someone. I want to fire now. Alright, so there we go. We got some hanging over. We got girl talk. So every time I see these talk cards, I immediately think of that time when I was in the kitchen and it like hit me. It was like, they could be meaning talking to yourself. Yeah, talking to yourself. Having that conversation with like, okay, where self-reflection is talking to yourself. I hope everyone knows that. Like, I'm not crazy. That's what self-reflection is. It's looking at yourself and being like, okay, how'd you fuck up here? Or how did I do well? You know, whichever one. Maybe you could do both. It could be probably good. But talking to yourself, talking. Moving on, living in the moment. So, and it's like being present with how you feel. So, okay. And we got some other ones that kind of fell all over the place. Butterfly, transformation, relationship evolving into the next phase, healing inner child, growth, okay. Seduction, flirting, dating, hooking up, temptation, third party interference. What? Third party, is that toxic energy? Not today. Not dealing with the hurt, avoiding conversation. Call that person still angry, boundaries. And coffee, meeting up, conversing, savoring the moment, feeling uplifted, friendship. So with this one, I'm feeling like two different energies. Like, I feel like with the butterfly, the girl talk, and the coffee cup, there's a lot of transformational energy here. I feel like these energies are separate from the other two cards. I feel like this has to do with some, I feel like, I want to say eternal growth too, because, you know, I'm always like, let's go internal, as within, so without, as below, so above, okay? Start from the dirt up, okay? And start from the darkness to the light. And, heal. But I feel like this is talking to yourself and, like, evolving, because butterfly has to do with self-transformation. You know, and so there is an element of evolving yourself out of this child trauma that might have something to do with truth feeling like prosecution. And being in denial of truth when it puts you in Shaq's shadow energy of the Queen of Swords with unhealthy boundaries. So that you can be more in the moment. Because Shax is definitely not in the moment when the Queen of Swords is coming out with the Three of Swords. Okay, this means like she hasn't even done the self-reflection because she's in prideful isolation. Let alone heal with whoever or whatever the situation was that caused the pain to begin with. So there has to be self-healing before you can transform yourself, and so that you can move on with the coffee cup. So I feel like this is a possibility, this is a choice. But then I feel like there's also this seduction to being angry and still in these boundaries with the not today card. And it's like third-party interference. So I feel like there's 3 swords in the Three of Swords, and I feel like it's this aspect of, I feel like self. I mean, because a lot of times how we express ourselves outside of ourselves with other people is a big reflection on how we are within ourselves, you know, how we talk to people and manipulate certain people and not others. It says a lot about ourselves. And I feel like this is like a side of yourself that probably talks you into these boundaries with the pride, because pride is a 7 deadly sin with our 7 kings, dealing with Lucifer. And Lucifer deals with air elements of mental programmings like childhood trauma that keep us thinking in a certain way that is limiting to our butterfly transformation, which is directly related to healing the inner child and growth and evolving yourself. So, Lucifer is awesome because he will shatter things that keep you chained up mentally. And you really have to realize yourself and really be willing to accept the truth. But it's hard for Shax to accept the truth if she views it as prosecution. So you hold boundaries up, and then you're not ready to transmute the anger into love, to the coffee cup. Butterfly, transform. So it's kind of you hindering your own transformation by sitting in prideful isolation. Boom. Okay, so that's our shadow. That hit like a bag of bricks. So, and now we're gonna pull our shadow goddess cards and get where the pain is. We're gonna keep digging at Shax, because Shax is the one who has the boundaries up and doesn't like to address the truth. You know, I'm a person who's a brutally honest person. I have horrible social cues because of it. I'm a horrible liar. I can't fake with people. So it is what it is. But that's how it is, you know. And people like to play games. So we're gonna pull our shadow goddess cards and see what shadow we have here. Where's the pain? Shadow mothers, demons, and goddesses, queens. Pain with the shots. No, wow, with Isis. This definitely relates to the butterfly transformation. It's basically like you stunting your own transformation by not admitting the truth to yourself of what you did. It's directly related to self. So it's hard to transform for real because the biggest challenge is ourselves first before it's anyone else. It's really never a competition, because our biggest competition is ourselves, and we can be our worst enemies, our greatest masters. But when you're stuck in the rat race, you think it's a competition, so you get stuck in like demon kings like Lucifer with pride, not releasing yourself from mental programs that are keeping you stuck in prideful energy that is hindering resurrection. And then we have Oya with deliverance from suffering. But to first, it's a good hurt to see the truth. Some truths are a good type of pain that are shattering and destructive. Oya is a very destructive, dark goddess, but it's destroying things that are keeping you shackled, enslaved, not free. Because Lucifer is what? He's the god of liberation. And I feel like this is a person kind of falling into the grips of their own demons. So, deliverance. And let's see what's on the back. Integrity, which is a very beautiful card. I always personally relate to, again, the inner child, relating to the transformation card of the butterfly. And resurrection, again. Integrity deals with the inner child, the truth. Children don't lie. The truth that makes you feel the good type of pain that feels like prosecution. And it's making you feel triggered and prideful because you probably are a person who doesn't want to admit when you've been wrong. So, and there's an owl here with wisdom. In the daylight. With the lantern. With the inner purpose. If you're not telling the truth, if you're not liberated in your truth, then you're living a lie. And you're conforming to something that is not who you are. And that's not healing you. And that's the wisdom that you learn through shadow work, with going into your subconscious and accepting the energy of Shax and what she has to tell you about unhealthy boundaries, and probably some things that you are prideful about that have kept you in unhealthy boundaries and from transformation. That is true to your inner child. So that is beautiful. Moonlights, what we have on the two of Shax, unhealthy boundaries, accepting and giving ourselves from our own mental slavery, liberating ourselves through forgiveness of ourselves. Okay, we have nothing will come of this situation. Wow, prosperity lies ahead at the back of the deck. So I feel like nothing will come from your prideful isolation, because you're only hurting yourself. You're only stopping your own transformation and resurrection with Goddess Isis, who deals with light, divine light energies, integrity. It's using that energy of a child that you had to transmute shadow aspects. It is a very powerful tool. But you have to change how you view truth, especially when it comes to you and your pride. But sitting in the energy of unhealthy boundaries, nothing will come of that. And it'll only keep you from your prosperity if you stay there, because prosperity lies through this situation ahead. You have to keep moving through it. You have to work through it. Okay, alright, and I think working through it has to do with accepting the truth. Changing how you view the truth, because I feel like you've seen the truth, because with this guidance card, with tarot cards, I feel like this is maybe seeking guidance and still not liking the answers. So it's like we're needing guidance, but still not seeing the truth as something to liberate you from something you contributed to it. Because the universe is you, and it's always the universe is always working in your favor. So if the universe sees you keeping yourself in prideful isolation and keeping yourself from self-transformation, because it'll put you in situations that require you to transform some aspect of yourself for the better, for your evolution. Because if we're all one God, we're all evolving, but some people are overcome with fear, they're overcome with their programming, whatever. It could be so many reasons why people turn opportunities into lessons. But that's okay, that's just your spiritual being having a human experience. So, but I feel like it's having to change how you view the truth. Someone's seeking truth, but they don't like what they see. Okay, and so we've got our number 2 with shots with unhealthy boundaries. On this we have shots. We need to accept truth using the phrase word. Okay. Starkeeper, cosmic ancestor, seed the light by staying grounded. So, cosmic ancestor. Cosmic ancestor is you receiving, I feel like, a seed from your higher self. But in order for you to do that, you have to get grounded. And part of grounding is really being able to ground yourself in truth. If you're grounding yourself in a delusion, you're not going to be able to receive this message. I feel like this is almost like an ancestor asking you to get more practical and spiritual with what you're going through. There is Cancer here, which has to do with the zodiac dealing with family and friends and love and home and stuff like that. That's Cancer energy. So emotionally, I feel, and mentally, there is a need for grounding. In truth, there's a way to ground yourself in that, which is in truth, not with this intensified air element. That means you're all up in your head. That means you're all up in your head, and just pushing yourself further and further into your mind and not dealing with the emotions. And so you're probably more in your emotions in your head than you are real present in the moment. And I think that was in the transformation. You're not living presently because you're not emitting some truth. And it's not what someone's done to you, because that's what put you in prideful isolation. It's what you've done to another that has triggered you to feel prideful about it, that you don't want to look at that truth. And it feels like prosecution when it's actually truth. And you have to be observant, I feel, and talk to yourself about why you see it that way. And what is it you're not admitting about yourself that's preventing you from growing, something that needs to be destroyed with Oya's energy, with deliverance. Because this is something that has kept you in prison too. And prideful isolation. Something you're probably very ashamed of. So, it's an ancestor. It's a seed from your highest self, asking you to accept the truth. But okay, so awesome. And now we're going to move right on to the tarot. And see what other messages we can get off of this. Okay. Dreams of Gaia is my favorite deck. You can wait, can I just but this is like my favorite deck. The lead artist. I don't know any of my cards. I wish I could remember things better. But she makes other decks on something. But they're really like cool and like all of it. Like I'm not trying to say anything else. Mystical creatures. I don't know something. Anyways, yeah, genius with this. Alright, so let's get PickACard number 2. Shacks and healthy boundaries. What messages do we have? Oh, love. Blocked love. I know about blocked love. And that's why I can talk about it. I've been on the receiving end of it and on the giving end of it, you know. Unconditional love is definitely an internal job. Definitely. It's a fucking paradox. I'll tell you that. Because there can be aspects of ourselves that we don't love, and we'll attract that in another and not even know it. Or, you know, whatever, vice versa. But love. And I feel like this is getting you out of that fear frequency with shacks, with pride. You know, I love Lucifer, but he's the demon king of pride, which is like something to master. Prideful behavior, which is being able to be not so confident that you cannot admit when you're wrong or when you fuck up. You know what I mean? Or like, because then it turns into arrogance. Like, confidence isn't meant to be prideful or arrogant. And so it's like, you can be a master, you can be a king of something. Like, Lucifer's a king. You can be a king of something and still have like some I feel like humility with love. But the main thing with this is like love towards, I feel like, aspects of self that are unhealthy. Like, because with, I feel like there's a lot going on with this, pal, okay? I feel like there's a lot going on in the shadows, and I don't have all day to just be sifting around in the darkness and be like, man, you gotta clean up this, and like, you got that, and this is over there, and you know, so, but all I can say is love is necessary in this area, okay? And I feel like it's much deeper than whatever situation that has caused you to have to feel like the Redeemer, the angel of the Redeemer having coming here. You have to redeem yourself. Get out of this prideful isolation. And you have to do that by telling the truth. Truth is love. Darkness is wisdom. It's what you learn from your pride that fucks you up, that gains wisdom because of it. It's what you learn from your pride that fucks you up, that gains wisdom because of it. That makes it sacred rage. Pride isn't like a bad thing, but it's like you can use it in a bad way. Just way you can use love in a bad way. We just want to understand how we're using these things and be aware of it, so we're not like putting ourselves in mind prisons for no reason. When our ancestors are trying to help us, but we have to first change the way we look at things, and the things we look at change. Dr. Wade Dryer, my man, okay? But love. This is getting out of fear frequency. This is flowing. Because it's all about flow. It's not about getting to love and sticking to love, because then you can fall into another shadow of like trying to hold on to love when it's like trying to go. Like, it's all about flow. You're gonna experience love and pain. It's totally normal. Just flow with it. You know, when it comes, it comes. When it goes, and it's for a reason. And the season, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. Love. Alright, so we're gonna pull our 4 elements. And see what we have. I feel like you guys know this already. And if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. I feel like you should understand all the good things about love. Love. We should. But that's a weird world we live in. We don't know that. It just kind of sucks. But anyways, so you're gonna see the 4 elements come out with shacks, with love. I don't even know what I'm doing here with these shuffling. It's terrible. Okay. We're just gonna. Alright, let's see what happens. Ooh, that was a definite. Ooh, power struggle. Ooh, we got the power struggle card. I wanna dominate you. No, I wanna be me. You need to stop. You need to stop. Alright, stay in your lane. That's all I gotta say, man. Just mind your business. Why are we over here messing with them? Alright, so. Okay, so what's going on? We got the death card. Oof. Death and rebirth with resurrection again. So I want to address this 2 of air we have here, which deals with being on an A team versus being the A on the team. Okay? It's a very powerful card with this deck. I would put the 2 of fire with the 5 of fire. 5 of fire as far as navigating with other people in a tribe where people are having maybe conflict or trying to dominate one another. And this is kind of reminding us of why we even work on a team. You know, it's not to outshine other people on the other team. It's trying to make the machine work as efficiently as possible to fulfill whatever purpose this team is even made for. And I feel like there's an element of the negative part of this card is can be unhealthy competition. Not allowing other people to have differences and have different skill sets within this team. And it's like you can't do everything, and some people can do other things better. You know what I mean? Or they can do things that you cannot, but it's picking people on your team for that reason, not to control them. It's to enhance your team, not to control your team members. There's an element of specifically trying to control the situation, trying to control the other. And so we have the King of Swords, and then the Seven of Air. And I feel like this is kind of like this energy of really going, I feel like trying to prove a point based off of, I feel like, some title with this Seven of Swords. Feeling like I have a title, but it's not understanding this. The Seven of Swords can lead to like using unkind words, or being unkind just because you're trying to prove a point to be right, instead of respecting different opinions. So it has an element of mind manipulation to it, or to manipulate another, or to dominate another, instead of being a teacher, which is accepting differences in your students. And understanding that everyone learns differently. It promotes more growth instead of controlling a plant's growth. Can sometimes kill it. And so, especially if you've lost sight of wisdom and are now just seeking to prove a point. Remember, integrity is involved with the shadow element. Are you losing sight of your integrity and to dominate the mind aspect of this relationship? And that's where you're wrong. There's no integrity in that. So the title doesn't mean anything anymore once you've lost integrity. And it's kind of like you're doing something immoral against what your title is. You know what I mean? And it's not admitting that because of your title. There's arrogance in here. So, and then we have the Death and Rebirth, which is, I feel like this is like that reassurance of this was a transformative like experience for the teacher on relationships. It can be on how teamwork is, or the role you play in your team with or without integrity, to reset that. I feel like to restart that, to start again with that. I feel like there's a lot of little sprinkles of opportunity in here with the Ancestor card, with the Star Keeper, because look, they both look like eggs. So I feel like whatever this was a truth that, if transmuted, could have a really great transformation for you. And how you work with others is vital. And love. A lesson in love. But I feel like with this death and rebirth now with this Starkeeper, this is something that can be denied by prideful isolation. Not looking at the truth and not seeing that the truth that's trying to be shown is how you are contributing to the team in a way that is not with integrity. So that is that. And I think that closes for pile number 2 with Shax with prideful isolation. I hope that you enjoyed that. That was very intense but very clear. I love Shax. Shax is the demon who lets us know, hey, what about that unhealthy boundary? You're always talking about that healthy boundary. What about the unhealthy ones? She's my favorite. She says what no one else is saying. All right, so goodbye, Shax, and thank you, my Redeemer. So, our last pile, which is certainly not the ending, pile number 3 with the beginning. Thought that was funny. I just realized that now. And with our awesome fourness with the 4 of Pentacles, and the beginning is the 8 of Cups. Okay. Holding on to dear life, stopping my new beginning. Okay, so why can't I put these in here? What is this? What is this? Alright, I hope they don't tip over. Can you see them? Can you see them? Can you see them? Alright. I didn't even pay attention to Shax, so good lord. I hope I could have seen Shax. But let me start. Pile number 3. The beginning. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the familiars. We're gonna start first with them. Okay, what messages do we have for pile number 3 with the new beginnings? Fourness with 4 Pentacles and 8 of Cups. Messages for Divine Leader, Messages Collective. Messages from our angels and demons. Okay, we already got one. We got the genome. The gnome. Okay. So custodianship. Okay, well, I feel like this is the beginning of, I feel like taking care of something and maybe like a new beginning, responsibility, maybe like reasons why you'd want to be responsible for something. So, okay, so that is our first familiar. Let's see what's on the back of the card. We have Red Squirrel, Conscientious. Okay, so I feel like this is being really prepared for something. Almost feel like paranoia. So we're gonna see what our other one is. That squirrel doesn't look too happy. He looks really concerned. Okay, like there's a storm brewing and he's got to get all his nuts. Like, all right, he's got a pile and he's like ready to go get more nuts. So what other messages do we have for the beginning with Fornus? Because keep in mind, Fornus deals with greed, and we have Hex here. Greed and stasis. So it's like custodianship and conscientious. Why? Scrying mirror. Paranoid. And it's like, I feel like there's some stasis here with Fornus. There's some reasons why the greed is so heavy, and it only leads to stasis, so we'll figure that out. Okay, I think scrying wanted to come out. Nope, we got awakening. Okay, so awakening wanted to come out with springtime. A new beginning. So I feel like new beginning is definitely coming out. I feel this directly related to the Eight of Cups, okay? Secrets, Book of Shadows. So I feel like this has to do with I'm not really sure with this Book of Shadows, with this secrets and this awakening. I feel like this is something that I feel this awakening card is definitely tied to this Eight of Cups card. I feel like I feel like almost affirming with the Book of Shadows, because it deals with the Book of Shadow. It's like our spells and stuff, you know, the things that we say to ourselves, and it's like being prepared for, like, asking yourself, like, what are you being prepared for? Because I feel like a new beginning is definitely present here, but it's like this type of spells that we're saying over those new beginnings is kind of weighing heavily with, like, taking care of it, you know what I mean? Let's move forward and see what else we get, okay? I want to see what's going on in these shadows, because I'm not really sure with that. So I'm feeling like it's the sense of being conscious about how you speak upon your new beginnings. You know, do you speak death into your new beginnings, or do you speak life into them? And I think that has a lot to do with the Book of Shadows, how we talk to ourselves, and maybe some subconscious parts within fourness with greed and stasis, because with stasis there is no growth. I see spring, which is rebirth, so that is not where fourness is. So there has to be some shadows that are speaking death into new beginnings that need to be addressed. With this paranoia type of energy, kind of with this squirrel, which I kind of want to get into with the shadow. So we'll see. We have addiction here, golden mirror. Okay, so no other cards in the back. We have the golden mirror. We have self-absorbed, narcissist, one-sided, love bombing. Okay, so I feel like this is that greed and stasis energy with fourness, okay, with this shadow element. And this has to do, again, with that, how are you speaking into yourself in new beginnings? Will tell you a lot about the manifestations of those new beginnings, because I feel like there's some type of paranoia there because of this fear of stasis, but because of that fear of stasis, you perpetuate more stasis. So and Fornus is the demon in this situation with this Eight of Cups, with this angel with the new beginnings has to do with, I'm pretty sure, transmuting shadow into gold. But first, the narcissist has to admit, I have a problem. I'm self-absorbed, I'm one-sided, and I love bomb. And I'm greedy, and it all leads to stasis, and I have an addiction. Which is our next one. Codependent, obsession, possession, controlling, having a block, restraint, admitting, restraint. And it's funny because fourness is like this demon that looks like the alien creature. And he's restraining you. And fourness deals with being, I'm pretty sure with this Eight of Cups, it mentioned being like kind of suffocated by our demons if we don't like transmute them, you know what I mean? Because they don't like, you know what I mean? So you still suffer the pain. If it's not being healed, you're still going to suffer the pain. So it's basically choosing suffering, and at that point that's a choice. Pain is natural, suffering is a choice. That's why it's a problem. It's someone choosing to suffer. And so you have to first admit you're in pain so you can relieve yourself of the suffering. And narcissists have a hard time doing that because of their ego. And ego deals with self-talk. Image. So we have palm tree and paradise right on the other side. Look at that. The same thing with the spring and the beginning. It's right on the other side of your healing. I feel like a big thing is, do you believe in a new beginning? And the quality of that new beginning at this point is more serious. But in order to even ask that, you have to be like, well, where am I not healing? Where it leads to greed and stasis, addiction, and self-absorbed. So, okay, so that was interesting. We're gonna pull a shadow demon and look for more pain. More shadows, more pain. Give me the pain. Bring on the pain. We're shadow pain diving. Woo. This is the type of pain diving I like to do, okay? Just shadow diving, you know. Those emotional black waters. Here's some others. Where's the pain and these shadows? Where's the pain in these shadows? Born strain, stasis, addiction, self-absorbed narcissism of bond, abundance awakening to us, spells, conscious, assume ownership. Okay. Here's the pain. Envy. Ooh. Integrity right on the other side of that. So, integrity and envy. Envy, I have been having fun with envy. Ruled by the demon Leviathan. I'm not sure if you'd call Leviathan king or not. I don't know. But I won't because I'm not sure about that. But I love them nonetheless. But with envy, that being another heavy hitter, envy can be really tricky. But yeah, envy is just a heart space issue. When there's an issue with love, if it's hitting with envy, there's an issue with loving something. Instead of inspiration, you're triggered and are caused to get envious. So that means there's something you've done or haven't done, or that you're not admitting, and because of self-absorbedness, being one-sided. And I'd say the narcissist, let's talk about how the narcissist treats the empath, but how do you think the narcissist treats themselves when they talk to themselves? Do they talk to themselves truthfully, honestly? like admitting their faults to themselves, or will they even conceal that because of the ego? They don't want to shatter their own ego. So being self-reflective can be very challenging for a narcissist. And envy is going to require you to do that. And it's going to require you to love others, and it's going to require you to love the parts of yourself that you've disappointed your own self, which is where integrity kicks in. And this deals with that inner child light, which came out, I'm pretty sure, in Shax. Shax's pile with Redeemer, the angel Redeemer. And this definitely deals with, I remember Shax clear as day, the truth hitting in a way that causes you to feel prosecuted instead of liberated. It's something that is a truth unto yourself of where you have been wrong as the narcissist, self-absorbed one, love-bombing, one-sided in the relationship, and kind of being codependent in this energy. The narcissist can be very much codependent in the narcissist paradigm with the empath, with the one that they are obsessing or controlling. You know what I mean? So it's very weird how that works. It's just energy. It's literally energy. And so I'm sorry, I don't even know where to start. Shax, it's a truth about yourself that is blocking you from an awakening. So I think everyone got the envy part with these. So yeah, but integrity definitely deals with, admitting truths even to ourselves, when we've been maybe our worst enemies, and sometimes neglected being our greatest masters in our lives, and prosecute other people for doing that, because we didn't, and that's not with integrity. So this envy and this is that stasis part of fourness, where doing that really leads to no purpose. It has no truth. It's not even truth. There's no growth with that. So you'll always be like voidless until you start admitting the truth. And I feel like that one thing that you're looking for, just find a solution to this voidlessness, is actually admitting a truth that you're not willing to look at because you feel prosecuted by that truth. But by doing that, you'll deal with the energy of pride of Lucifer, which will release you from some shackle that has to do with mind, with how you put yourself in prideful isolation, or get into greed and stasis with things. So yeah. And envious. The envy is that greed and the stasis. So, okay. Now, I think last we have our moon card, and then we are going to do the tarot. Okay. So, Moon Goddess, what messages do we have for the collective? New beginnings, fourness, freedom, stasis. I like that this one ties into Shax. Sometimes that happens and sometimes that doesn't. Sometimes it happens a lot. This one only happened once. We had a smaller pile. Interesting. Okay, so your card here, you got a couple. Gotta stick together. Balance with the scales. A new romantic cycle begins. Okay, new moon in Libra. Okay, so this is really, I feel like this is some self-love. If this is connected to Shax, this is connected to like, it's connected to like some childhood ways in which we look at ourselves and love ourselves. How we view others, like, versus loving them or being envious of them. This is like quality love, or not the best quality love. In order for a narcissist to get quality love, they have to kind of shift their energy, their emotions into more authentic love. They have to want to be authentically loved, so they have to say and speak authentically to themselves, like look at themselves authentically and really love those parts that they really like hide, because narcissists hide behind a mask. They don't show who they really are. Because of pride and ego, and Shax is prideful isolation due to not liking the truth. So with Libra, it's really to balance out, I feel like, this fear energy revolving around authentic love and inauthentic love that's kind of coming from a fear of not having it, versus having the real love that's true to who you are, not just like an appearance. And that's integrity. And then your other moon card is balance, spirituality, and practicality with Pisces. More balance. We got scales with air, scales with water, mind and water. So, and I feel like I'm pretty sure Shax was a lot of air. And so we might be getting into a little bit of the water here with your cards. We'll see. But mind and emotions need to be in balance. And a lot of that is some truth to who you really are, how you really are, and how this interferes with your interactions with others, good or bad. Both. Examine both. So our light card of the starseed, what messages do we have? Number 3 with beginning and fullness of stasis and greed. Balance, practicality with spirituality, balance in love and mind, emotion. I feel like this has to do with really attracting authentic people to your life who are actually authentic to your light and not just the mask you wear, not the facade. We, the Hathor, deep love, mother's milk, birth as a portal. So I feel like this is the importance of your transformation through this. Your transformation through releasing the things that you're greedy about due to your fear of not having anything, so that you can have something real. And then you got the love, Hadrian energy, codependency, boundaries. So boundaries and codependency came up twice. I think it was just the codependency part, not the boundaries. But if there's a narcissist, that's a boundaries problem, okay? So codependency came up twice, definitely, with this addiction. So I feel like it's like the narcissistic codependency in the relationship, to have someone affirm a mask that's not their true self, because they haven't admitted their true selves. And so they don't really love themselves. So they'll accept fake love, you know what I mean? And again, that's integrity with your shadow element that came out for you, with telling the truth. And this deck is connected to Shax with prideful isolation. And it deals with seeing truth as prosecution instead of transmuting it as Lucifer would, to liberate yourself from a mental programming that has kept you from transforming your shadow into gold. Because again, I feel like this child is greedy and envy, and doesn't see that it's not a race, it's about your personal transformation along your experiences in life. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Shadow and light is a checks and balances on ourselves. Fourness is your demon of stasis and greed because of a narcissist not admitting their wrongs and not admitting the truth that is putting them in the energies of pride and envy, Leviathan and Lucifer, in a way that you're unconscious about it, and it's trapping you. That is why shadow work is so important. So we're gonna pull our tarot cards and see what comes out. It's a good type of pain when you get triggered, but no one likes to get triggered because it only shows you that that pain you thought you healed from however many years ago is still there. And sometimes that's how it is. It's okay. That shows you the depth in which you've gotten hurt. Some pain is not healed in this lifetime, so we have to continue loving ourselves. So who would have thought? You got hurt that deep, so the universe requires you to continue loving yourself. Wow. Why would the universe require us to love ourselves? It's like it's us. Integrity came up again. You got integrity twice. So truth is something that you're in denial of and triggered by. Because the envy you feel is only because there's something that you have not, it's something to do with yourself. It's something that you see in another that you don't see in yourself. But that's not their fault. That's your perception. And that's the truth. And so to turn envious and become greedy with no purpose and leading to stasis, that means your desires are not clear. Shax was paired up with the Three of Swords, which is another air element, and that angel, my Redeemer, is redeeming yourself after having unclear desires and made a hastily decision to attack something. And envious people tend to do that. If I don't know how to love you, I only know how to hate you. But you not knowing how to love someone is internal. That's all integrity. That has to do with some mental programming. Lucifer is prideful, but he is liberating when you unlock the shackles of whatever is enslaving you mentally to this feeling of envy, of greed. It's shadow work. So your key card is integrity again. So let's pull our 4 elements and see what other messages we have from your angels and demons. I keep feeling like this pile keeps getting triggered. Like the truth hurts. I know. I deal with it too. Why do you think I do this? If you don't think I do it for myself, I like doing this because with tarot reading and the occult, people can't hide. People like to hide who they truly are all the time. And I've always hated that, as long as I can remember, people hiding how they truly feel, how they truly think, because those are things you cannot see all the time so clearly. That's why I like the occult. I like truth, even if it hurts. So we have the King of Water, which deals with emotional manipulation. The King of Water Okay. So we have some aces here, new opportunities. But I feel like it's manifesting opportunities from a space of greed and stasis. Like the emotional part, the king and the queen of air again. This is definitely Shaq's energy with the boundaries. The boundaries and the emotional manipulator. Prideful, isolation, greed and stasis. You know. So I feel like this is someone, again, I feel a lot of need to control things with the King of Water, to manifest things in a way, to manifest new beginnings. But the intention is not in a good place. So they all were reversed. It's a dead seed. Because it's not being planted with integrity, with the right intentions that would even prosper abundance. But I feel like there is an opportunity as well to have an awakening to this, which is your Ibolic card. I hope I said that right. Awakening to the way that you manifest with your mind and emotions, with spirituality and practicality. Your mind and emotion plays a big part in the quality of our manifestations. Definitely check out pile number 2 of Shaq's, because Queen of Air energy with unhealthy boundaries is really heavy in here, and it's almost like asking, where is your integrity in the unhealthy boundaries that you're holding up with other people through emotional manipulation? Like, where is your integrity in all of that? And if you can't find it, then you're doing it because of you're not taking responsibility of something that you played a part in that caused you pain. Because that's where the envy comes up. I don't have what you have, so I want to take what you have. But not seeing that there's enough for everyone, and that what someone else has, you can have too, and you can have your version of it. Be inspired. That is a block in the emotional heart chakra. It comes from a lack mentality, a limited mentality, and so you more and more, but more and more with no purpose. You know what I mean? You might be looking at somebody else with purpose, looking for a purpose for yourself. So I definitely feel like introspection here with this Queen of Air and the King of Water, because one deals with unhealthy boundaries, the other one deals with emotional manipulation, because you want something your way. So I feel like as soon as you release some of the ways that you speak upon having things and the reasons behind that and the true intentions behind that, look, because speaking air and the intentions, water is here. Paying attention to those will make a better quality of what you want. But I feel like the quality is out of place because the King of Water and the Queen of Air is out of place because they're not admitting a truth of an addiction, of narcissistic behavior, and seeing truth as prosecution. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Thank you to the beginning and Fortis here for pile number 3. Hope you enjoyed this pick a card and messages from your demons. I hope they were loud and clear. I felt really good about all of them. They felt really smooth. So please hit the like and subscribe, and you have a great day. Bye.
Do great things while they are still small. The sage does not attempt anything very big, and thus achieves greatness. If you agree too easily, you will be little trusted, because the sage always confronts difficulties. He never experiences them.